Okay, so Preston, you've recently saw the video I uploaded, the top 5 most ridiculous theories so far in the Game of Thrones shows that came from the community.
I did. I was excited to see a Carmine video because you've been lax lately. It's good. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back.
I came out of retirement for the money. I'll just be honest. The money was good. I had to come out of retirement for the money. But no. So yeah, this is a video I've actually wanted to do for a very long time. Now, you know me, I don't do theories, especially show theories where there's almost nothing there to even theorize on. And we'll get to that in a minute as to why that is. And, you know, I've had a lot of people tell me, do theories, which there's no point in me doing any because there's no new books, there's no new content. I feel like...
Was that specifically British people requesting theories from you?
Yeah, why?
No. That was funny because you were like, I get people going, do theories. And I was
did I just have a British accent when I did that?
Well, yeah, or I mean, I'm an American doing a British accent, which is the only thing I can do. I can't do a real British accent. I can do an American doing a British accent.
Every time I try to do a British accent, people tell me it sounds Australian for some reason. I don't know. But no, me doing theories is kind of pointless at this point because I feel like everything that could be a theory has been already said and done. You'd have to try very hard to come up with something new that hasn't been said, so there's no point in me doing them. So what I wanted to do with this video was just look at the ones out there already and just give my thoughts on them. Okay. And I went inside the community, deep inside, and found the top 5 most ridiculous theories. Like that, the
deep
ones
undercover.
Pretty much. The ones that you would look at and go, ugh, this is so dumb. But... let's be honest, for 2 seconds here, would be much cooler than what we're getting in the show from Dave and Dan.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I watched your video. I'm not fresh on it because I watched it a few days ago. So
no, that's fine.
As we go through this, I'll be reminded and everything.
So I was so before when I was making the video, I was kind of rushed for time. I wanted to have an honorable and dishonorable mention. Do you mind if we go through that one first?
Sure.
Alright, so in my dishonorable mention of most ridiculous, and some of them were ridiculous and cool, this one's just fucking stupid. And we discussed this when we were discussing something like last week about clickbaiting bullshit and how you hate it. People putting like arrows and circles in the videos and how you don't like it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is the worst. But yes,
and
that's YouTube though. That's YouTube.
I understand, but this one came from the season 6 teaser. Remember the one where Jon, Cersei, and Dany are walking towards their respective thrones? Jon his chair.
Yes.
And everyone's like looking in the camera, and Cersei does the, and then she has the cold breath of air.
Yes.
So the dishonorable mention I wanted to put in there was Cersei is the Night King's queen. No evidence behind it, just her doing, and that's because the Night King the original Night King had a queen who was a White Walker. So the new Night King,
maybe this is actually like the videos that I've been doing recently. Not to do my self plug, but my Night's Watch videos like talk about this. Like the fan canon, and it's even in the wiki and all these things. The fan headcanon is that the Night King's queen was a female other, but if you read it, there's no evidence that it's a female other. Like she has white skin and blue eyes. Like she could just be a pale girl. And in fact, the story, if you read the story, she's clearly called a woman, like repeatedly. And he catches her in a wildling sort of way. So she's probably a wildling, who happened to have like pale skin. They say her skin was cold as ice, but the others would be much colder than ice. I mean, the others would be like sub-zero. The Night's King's penis would like freeze and shatter like a banana in liquid nitrogen if his queen was actually like an other.
Well, this is in the books, right?
Yeah.
In the show, for the I believe it was the either season 2 or season 3 Blu-ray DVD Histories and Lore extra. You can see a visual representation that she looks like she's a White Walker female.
Oh.
That's where this show theory comes from. It's supposed to parallel what we see there, where the Night King, the original, was a human guy who found a White Walker female, and I guess the Night King now, who's a White Walker, is trying to have a human female queen.
Yeah. It's all kind of weird. So originally, like in George R. R. Martin's early drafts, the others were not called the Others. They were called the Neverborn. And so, the idea is that they're an entire race of the sacrificed babies, but the sacrificed babies are always boys. So all the others are men. So where did this female other come from? I don't know.
So that's the dishonorable mention, because what are your thoughts? It's kind of dumb, right? Just basing a theory off just like one teaser to show that winter is here. It's pretty much what it was.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just like, how the Night's King, like, when is he going to meet Cersei? How would they communicate? Would they chat? Is he going to impress her like Euron does?
I mean, like, if Dany's little vision in the house of the Undying is anything believed, she did go beyond the wall, like we saw, and she did walk through the throne room and with the roof collapsed.
Yeah. So
that's where the theory comes from. I get it, but as far as theories go,
the Night's King is going to carry off Cersei. Like ride his dragon down, grab her.
I guess I have no idea. Like, but I can understand where this theory came from. There's not a lot of evidence behind it.
No, it's just, I mean, clearly the trailer was just like, oh, winter's coming.
Yeah, winter's here, and So that's the dishonorable mention. The other honorable mention was actually something you mentioned during our season 7 podcast in passing. Just randomly just threw it out there, which made me think, that's kind of cool. Obviously, there's no evidence behind it, but it's interesting if it were true. And this one is Euron being Theon's real father.
Oh, yeah.
Because they look so much alike. Obviously, like, maybe that's a huge coincidence on the casting department's decision. But Euron kind of does look like Theon in the show.
That's true. I'll grant that. And
what do you mean you'll grant that? You mentioned it. What are you talking about?
I mention a lot of things. I can't be responsible for everything that comes out of my mouth. That would be really neat, because it does fit with Euron's character of seducing and or raping his brother's wives that we get from the book. We're not sure which he did. If it was the book only character of Victarion. We're not sure if Euron seduced or raped Victarion's wife. But yes, it would be so it's certainly possible, in the same sense that Balon's wife was seduced or raped similarly. So yes, it's certainly possible that Euron is Euron is Theon's father.
And kind of like Tywin with Tyrion, there was a scene, I believe in season 3, where Tywin says, "I cannot prove you are not mine," which leads us to believe that's probably why he didn't kill Tyrion. Same with Balon. "I cannot prove you're not mine, so I'm gonna treat you like shit anyways."
Yeah, but I think it's just, we just have to accept that Tywin and Balon are both just absolute assholes who are gonna treat people like shit regardless.
Well, yeah, those are dishonorable and honorable mentions I had, but I didn't have enough time to put them in there. But let's get into it. Number 5 is that Peter Baelish, this is my favorite, Peter Baelish wrote the Pink Letter. There was so much evidence to back this up. And obviously it's not evidence in your face. You have to look for it. Like in season 3, when Ramsay wrote to the Greyjoys, you can see the seal is completely different than the seal we see, that the original seal that Ramsay sent versus the seal that Jon sees at
Which
Castle
parallels
Black.
the book in that there's something wrong with the seal.
What else? In the letter, it says, "Come and see." In the very same episode, Peter Baelish says to Robin Arryn, "Come and see." It's the perfect storm. Not only that, though, but the motivations are also there. If it was Peter who sent it, he's trying to scare Sansa into coming to him for help. And he's also trying to scare Jon Snow into thinking the Night's Watch, his beloved Night's Watch, would be destroyed. So he's trying to force Sansa to come to him for help because she needs it. It fits in line with his character.
It makes way too much sense, actually. You know, like there's no actual reason for Ramsay to well, he wouldn't really know that Sansa went to the wall. I guess he can assume that Jon is the closest relative. But what, you know, does the letter, I don't know, the letter just kind of pisses them off, and he then allows them to, I'm trying to think of the show, like the letter just pisses them off, and then Jon is motivated to go raise an army and then attack Winterfell, which doesn't really play to Ramsay's favor. Ramsay doesn't even need Sansa anymore. Like at first you think he needs Sansa to keep the North together, and then he loses Sansa and everything's fine. So there was no reason to get Sansa back in the show. So I guess we can go with that angle. Like Ramsay doesn't really have a motivation to send a letter to the wall because Sansa's not important in the show.
Mm-hmm. Not anymore, at least.
Yeah, not anymore. Like theoretically, she was important to Roose Bolton. Roose Bolton's dead.
Ramsay don't play by no rules, so it doesn't matter to him as much.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, and you know, and so.
Well, I guess you could argue he wants her back because the second hottest girl in the show, at least in Winterfell, was killed by Theon, so he needs a new girlfriend.
There's plenty of women out there. He can find another.
I don't know. You can't replace Miranda. That craziness. Can't replace Miranda.
Well, but Sansa's not going to replace Miranda. I mean,
I guess.
I mean, Miranda is irreplaceable. She, you know.
Look. If Harley Quinn dies, the Joker, I guess, could settle for Jean Grey. I guess, you know.
I mean, on a personal basis, there was just really something about Miranda that excited me.
Whoa, what's going on here? Go into this one.
These are confessions. I don't know. Like, I don't, for some reason, the actress that plays Miranda, I just have major crush on. So in the sense of, like, you know, irreplaceable, she's yeah, like, but Sansa's not going to replace that, and Ramsay can find somebody else. But you're right that that it plays into Baelish's hands so perfectly that they need to attack Winterfell, and then he's got the Vale army to rescue them. And so the pink, you know, having that letter that arrives at the wall be Peter Baelish be the secret writer. And of course, like, the big theory in, you know, for fans of the book is that either Mance Rayder or Stannis, those are the two big suspects, secretly wrote the pink letter, and it's not really from Ramsay.
Well, like I said, one of the things about this is, what about the House Bolton writer who dropped off the letter? That could be one of Peter's henchmen. Lothar Brune is prominent in the books, one of Peter's right-hand guys. That could have been him. You know, who knows? You could always
just hire. You could hire anybody to put on a shield and deliver a letter.
Pretty much. And the elements were there for it to be Peter until the director of that episode told everybody, no, Ramsay wrote it. Which I think is such a bullshit thing to do, because you want it to be ambiguous. You want there to be a mystery there to have the audience go, hey, wait a minute, this stuff doesn't add up. And it's, unlike the books, it's not in your face. You're going to have to pay very close attention. And it's a fun mystery. This is the one thing Game of Thrones has been missing from the very beginning. Mystery. Even the mystery of who Jon's mom is, like, nobody really cared about that as much. I feel like who Jon's parents are was made popular by the books.
So I mean, George R.R. Martin is a huge fan of not answering questions. He actually has a story called With Morning Comes Mistfall about this issue, about how when you solve a mystery, you're taking a little bit of beauty from the world. It's about this planet that's covered in clouds, and there may or may not be these you know, phantoms that exist and tourists come because they wonder about the mystery, and then these scientists come and they prove definitively that there's no ghosts in the clouds, and it destroys the tourism industry there and everything. So that's the thing, is there is something intriguing about the mystery. recently I was watching Red Team review or Red Letter Media's review
A lot
of
of
The
reds.
Thing. Yeah, I was watching Red Letter Media's review of The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, I saw the same video, dude.
Yeah, so, and they're talking about how ridiculous it is that people try to have definitive answers about whether or not, like, in the final scene, either one of them is the Thing. What's funny is that in interviews, like, Carpenter's like, dude, it was supposed to be ambiguous. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the point is it's supposed to be ambiguous. There's not an answer.
That's why the ending's
Like,
so legendary.
Right. You know, don't, stop trying to answer it. And they're like, but in the scene, he's got an earring and he can't replicate metal. And the prequel, I guess, would I forget if they said the prequel, the prequel takes a lot of the mysteries of the Norwegian camp or something out of it and stuff like that. But the point is, you want to keep it a mystery. Don't go on was it an article or how did he do this when he announced that?
He did it twice. He did it in an article with Tech Insider, and then he did an AMA about it, like where someone asked him, and he goes, "No, I swear, I've told people multiple times it was Ramsey who wrote the letter." Like, dude, stop doubling down on it. You're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's too bad. Because I mean, that's the thing is, like, later on somebody might want to use that. You know, like some writer could have made it later had that revealed. And it would have been a cool little thing. Oh well. You know, because sometimes cool ideas can be brought in. My wife was telling me about in Harry Potter that it started as a fan theory that Neville was the other chosen one, and then like,
yeah, I've heard that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
and then it was, but then it's like mentioned in a later book, the author thought it was such a cool idea that she incorporated it. Like, some writer could later be like, oh, that's a really good fan theory. Maybe I'm gonna steal that and incorporate it. It's fine, but yeah, don't destroy the mystery. Don't paint yourself into a corner.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this show, once again, they do this shit all the time. There's some cool callbacks to a lot of book stuff as well. And they don't do anything with it. So the reason it's my number 5 instead of my number 1 is because it does get answered, but it's still cool nonetheless.
It would have been a much better story had it been Littlefinger rather than being Ramsey.
Oh god, yeah, it would have made Littlefinger such a great character, even on top of Littlefinger's already a great character. The show really destroys him towards his finale, but it would have just added on to how great he is, how much of a master strategist he really is. Number 4 is Roose Bolton, or the House Bolton clan, are related to the White Walkers and or the original Night King. This one came from a interview that the actor for Roose Bolton, I believe his name is Michael McHoughton, something like that.
Yeah.
And he said something along the lines of like, well, who knows? Maybe the Boltons are in some way associated with the White Walkers. Blah 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 blah. I have the clip in the video. And he was most likely mainly doing that to hype up season 7. No, he was doing it to hype up season 6. I'm sorry. He was doing it to mainly hype up season 6 and to also hype up the House Bolton arc in season 6. And there is probably nothing to it. But my small theory on top of this theory is that perhaps the showrunners originally wanted to do something with that, probably reveal that the Night King was maybe a member of House Bolton, or at least the original one was, and they probably just scrapped it. Like how the whole rumor here is, the strong rumor from YouTuber Dragon Demands, is that the Dornish plotline season 5 sucked because they were writing it as they were filming it or something like that.
Oh.
And they didn't really know what to do with it, and that they were kind of rushed, so they just kind of scrapped what they originally had planned.
Well, yeah, interesting. Now, and of course, in the book, there is the Boltons, like the Night King, the Night's King from the book. Like he's rumored to maybe be a Bolton,
or a Stark.
Or a Stark, or a Nori, or a Flint, or a Woodfoot, or Scagosi. But so there is that slight connection there. But this is again the self plug of Night's Watch, Craster's Creek.
No, go ahead, of course.
But as it turns out, the White Walkers are probably at least some of them Boltons. Because if you're going to go with... So remember the Lord's right to the first night. In the book we have this thing, the Lord's right to the first night, where lords are allowed to have sex with vassals on their wedding night, and which would produce excess bastards, and then they perhaps would bring these bastards to the Black Gate, which is this gate in the wall, and then the others would pick up the babies on the other side. And so the Boltons and the Starks, and the Flints and the Norries, and the Umbers, they're practicers of the Lord's right to the first night. So yes, like some of the others would be Boltons, if this sacrifice is going on, you know. But this is like the big thing. Like I spent a lot of time like showing that, yeah, probably the North were sacrificing babies to the others, like through the Night's Watch, through the walls. But I mean, one big piece of evidence that something is going on is, okay, so the others have telepathic abilities, right? They can animate the dead. And Starks have telepathic abilities, you know, so, you know, and they're the Lord's right at the first night. You're giving babies over, so, you know, there's something going on where you've got telepaths south of the wall, you got telepaths north of the wall, you have this sacrifice gate, you have this Lord's right at the first night that would produce excess bastards, you know, you have this practice of offering babies to the others, so, you know, that might be it all kind of makes sense in that these houses are known for telepathic abilities and the others are known for telepathic abilities, so it might be part of the peace agreement.
Once again, but it's coming from the show, and it was just an one-off interview. But as always, would it be cool though? Your thoughts? Would it be cool if it were true? If the Boltons did have it doesn't matter now since they're all dead. There was a little theory that Sansa was pregnant, but that nothing came of that.
Yeah.
So, your thoughts?
Yeah,
would it be cool?
It would be cool, but I think the thing is like making him a Stark is more of, you know, that hits home a little more because
we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like it's like you know, finding out Darth Vader is your father versus finding out Darth Vader is secretly Grand Moff Tarkin's father. Like, you're like, oh, like, well, you know, it's like the villain is really related to another one of the villains. Oh, that's not as compelling as the villain is related to me. You know, the villain is related to the heroes. Like, it's only compelling if the villain is related to the heroes. It's not compelling if the villains are related to villains. You know,
would also be compelling if the villain was the hero, but we'll get to that.
He said you killed my father. No, Luke, I am Grand Moff Tarkin's father. It's not compelling.
No, I have
so
to
that's
agree.
That's the problem with the Night's King being related to Ramsay or Roose is who cares? They're the bad guys. It's only compelling if the Night's King is a Stark. You know.
Stop it! You're ruining everything. Okay.
I know.
No. Number 3 is Varys and/or Peter Baelish and/or the High Sparrow are members of House Rain. Now, for those of you who are initiated, and yes, remember, because people complain about this all the time in the comments section, there are people who watch our channels who have never read the books. So, but it was mentioned back in Season 3 very briefly. For those of you who don't know, House Rain was the second wealthiest house in Westeros decades ago, and they took advantage of the fact that Tywin's father was very weak and didn't command respect, so they tried to overthrow House Lannister. Tywin stepped in and beat them so badly that there are no more members of House Rain, which is why many people believe that a lot of the characters in A Song of Ice and Fire, and even in the show as well, are members of this extinct house. Wasn't it, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it Dantos Hollard, whose family was completely destroyed until Barristan saved him?
Yeah, I mean, over on the other side of Westeros.
But so we've seen it happen before. It's not unheard of. So I don't, the evidence behind this is that these characters, the High Sparrow more so, are going to extreme lengths to screw over House Lannister. So I guess they must be scorned by House Lannister in some way. That's the only thought really behind it. As for Varys and Peter, I hope it's not the case, and I wouldn't like it if it were, because I like the story we have for Varys even a little more so in the show. I like the story we have for Peter, that he just wants power. He's a young guy who grew up wanting more, and he achieved that through his own talents. The High Sparrow, I could see this more of. Did you read the theory behind the High Sparrow?
Essentially, the idea is that Tarbeck being another like house that's kind of attacked by Lannisters, or brought down by Lannisters, like just made him have a hatred of wealth. And so I imagine it would be the same thing with the Reigns. Like you're gonna be trying to bring down House Lannister and even
House Tyrell, because apparently they're the second wealthiest house now.
Sure, yeah. It's always possible, but the problem is the Lannisters have so many enemies. Every house has so many enemies. If you go back, if you go back thousands of years, hundreds of years, dozens of years, you're gonna have so many enemies. So the High Sparrow can be anybody when you do that. It's just too difficult to determine who the High Sparrow is, based on the information that's provided in either the book or the show.
Right.
We have. I mean, the Howland Reed equals High Sparrow. The one came up only, and it's really just based on the fact that we have this one character who we want to have return, and we have another character who we know nothing about, and they're gonna be connected in that sense.
Wait, so you don't do you not like the Howland Reed is High Sparrow theory? You do not like that?
No, it's just not based on anything. I mean, it's based on the idea that one character we don't know where he is, and we want him in the story, and this other character we have no background on, and therefore it's that's the connection.
Right.
I mean, it's possible that Howland Reed somehow studied up on the Faith of the Seven and decided to leave, and Greywater watch and pull all this off. Sure, I guess, but it could be anybody. I mean, you could literally pick any character and be like, well, it's that guy. They hate the Lannisters too.
For me, I don't like it when characters are secretly supposed to be other characters. I'm going to have to explain the sentiment later on when we discuss number 1. But unless it's done correctly, the High Sparrow, even though he's a big figure, especially in seasons 5 and 6, I don't think he's big enough for it to really mean much. Because House Rain has been mentioned once, and I believe it was in season 3, where Marjorie was trying to befriend Cersei, and Cersei essentially says, fuck off, and gives her the brief, too long didn't read history of it. So, it wouldn't mean much, but it is prevalent throughout the community nonetheless. I wouldn't like it if it was Varys. I wouldn't like it if it was Peter. The High Sparrow, I would be okay with it if it was alluded to. If it wasn't straight out said in my face that the High Sparrow goes, yeah, that's right, I'm a member of House Rain. Haha, fuck you guys. Revenge. I would hate that. That's very cliche. That's stupid. But if it was alluded to, maybe if we found, maybe if the High Sparrow was praying at an altar, and then we saw maybe little House Rain memorabilia right next to him. It's shown briefly. You miss it if you blink. That I'd be okay with. But if it's right in your face, if he's wearing a House Rain sash or some shit like that, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, something a little subtle. I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm trying. That immediately made me think of the sword, the House Dane sword at the Tower of Joy, thing that they did, the fan service there.
Well, where they put a sun on the pommel.
Yeah, and somehow it was a bleeding star because it was a bleeding rag next to a sun, or something. I don't know if that was actually fan service or not, because it doesn't really make much sense. But whatever.
Do you like this theory that one of those 3 characters might be a member of House Rain? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, it's tough just because it could be anything. It could be anybody. You need a little more than just, oh, they hate the Lannisters and therefore, like, you know, they're going to be that person. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, like I do like the Varys is a Blackfire theories because there's a little bit more to it. There's like, oh, well, the reason he shaves his head, and if you remember, Dunk shaves his head. I mean, Egg shaves his head in order to hide his silver hair, you know, and little stuff like that. And he's trying to bring, or at least that he's Valyrian, you know, and he shaves his head.
It's from Essos.
Yeah, so you know, you want a few more little things before it's, you know, before it take on a theory, rather than just, well, they hate the Lannisters and the High Sparrow hates the Lannisters.
I like that, actually. The Varys could be a Blackfire, because if the show is to be believed, if he was a Blackfire, would the Blackfires be considered Blood of Kings? Yes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the sorcerer cutting off his balls?
Oh, yeah.
That would technically be a sacrifice that we've seen Melisandre do a couple of times with King's Blood.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I can see that forming up.
And honestly, thinking back on it now, I probably should have had that as my number 3 because, you know,
That seems way better than what I put for number 3, but once again, I was rushed for time.